All right. Ladies and gentlemen, you are watching and listening to the Holy Ruckus, a segment on Sinner, Sinner, Saint, two sinners and the saints, Mother Teresa. This is a kind of dual thing of a podcast, but also a video that we wanted to do. This is Father Dan Leary. Say hello.
Hello. Father Dan Leary, St. Andrew's pastor, here with Josh, and Labor Day weekend. Pretty tired.
Yeah, I mean, I was yawning through much of our encounters together, but and there's no other place you'd rather be, right?
On a Monday night, talking to my man Josh, I can't imagine anything better. I'm trying to become a saint, not hang out with this sinner.
That's true. That's so true, Father. We're talking, like, in these segments, we're talking about a different saint or blessed, someone that is with the Lord, right? And someone that I think is talked about a lot. You know, she's always on the tip of people's tongues, if that's weird. Mm-hmm. Saint Mother Teresa, and people. I mean, we know of her humanitarian efforts. Yeah. We know of. I mean, if you've been living under a rock, maybe you know that. As for me, I always remember, like, oh, the last 40 years of her life she was spent in like a spiritual dryness or like a darkness of the soul kind of thing, and which I have had an experience of as well. I remember one time I told you I was in a dry spell one time, Father, and I remember saying to you, I think I'm going through like a dark night of the soul kind of thing, and to which you
sincerely,
yeah, and to which you said something of that nature, like, come on, you're not Mother Teresa.
You're not that holy.
Yeah, exactly. That was pretty much the whole sentiment.
That was spiritual direction.
That was yes. And I thought it was going to stay there, but that's cool. I mean, I brought it up, so whatever. So anyway, just some things of just her life. But yeah, I mean, she was an Albanian nun who voluntarily went to Calcutta, was already in an order previously.
Yeah, I mean, the thing about Mother is, I think in the modern culture, you know, she's kind of invoked like St. Francis is with animals and Mother with the poor. You know, there's more to Francis than animals and the sun and the moon. And there's more to Mother than simply just thinking that Mother was only locked in on poverty and leaving them in their poverty. Mother was much more focused on eliminating the spiritual poverty. So she would use the bread or water or clothing, or bathing them, to what? To bring them to baptism, to prepare them to meet the Lord. That was Mother's whole charism, to bring many souls to Christ. And so many were baptized on their deathbed. Many received this grace as the sisters would bring them to Christ. I think it's a misunderstanding at times when people say, well, Mother just loved them and wanted to remain as they are. She loved them where they were, but Mother also had a profound desire to bring them to Christ through the sacraments. Absolutely, no question.
So that was still the mission, because I remember one time watching like a movie and of her life, and it was a good first part was like she was content with just teaching them English, because heavy, you know, you're in India obviously, and that's owned by, you know, different faith, like. How did she navigate that? You say that she's preparing them for baptism, but I guess not early on. I think she was content
Mother's love. I think Mother's love was the language that penetrated non-believers, because many couldn't believe what Mother was doing. You know, that the Christian, as opposed to other faiths, is focused on loving Christ in others. And it was very evident that that's what Mother was about. But it wasn't just loving them as an image. Mother saw them as Christ. So she wanted to bring Christ out of them, alive in them, regardless of their physical presentation, regardless of their suffering, regardless of their poverty. So, yes, Mother had a passion, a desire to feed. But through the food, she wanted them to come to know the living God. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. You sound like you know her, or you knew her.
Well, I met Mother a couple of times at Gift of Peace when I was down there. I drove her one day. It was really just some powerful experiences that I had with Mother. There's a picture of me holding the miraculous medal after Mass one day. This was 23 years ago. And there I am not as much gray hair as I have now, and I'm
For sure.
holding these medals.
Absolutely. By the way.
Okay, thanks. And holding these medals, and Mother's just blessing people and giving medals out to people, person after person. I can remember one of the photos I have is a couple coming up to Mother. I can remember it just like yesterday, where Mother's saying to Mother, "Mother, we want to have a baby." And Mother says, "Well, here's a miraculous medal." And then Mother says, "Say this prayer with me." And the couple repeats it. And Mother's prayer was, dear Jesus, give us a baby now. Amen." And I remember the couple had their eyes closed. They had their hands in Mother's hands. And I remember like the wife looking up and being like, is that all?
Because that's never happened.
Well, that was just Mother.
Uh-huh.
That was her faith. Like, ask Jesus for a baby. And that was just the profound experiences. People would come back and thank Mother for praying for them, for babies, for healing, etc. But yeah, I don't know if that particular couple had a baby, but I know that was a popular prayer of Mother. That direct, that simple, and that childlike.
Were you like, so when you roll up to pick up Mother to drive her around, or where did you drive her? What are you driving? Are you driving like a diocesan issued BMW?
No, I was
incomplete.
I was driving my tight 1990 Ford Corsica, blue corduroy interior.
Wait, what's a like corduroy like the pants?
Yeah, but that was popular back in that. Yeah, man, you couldn't hang. So it was corduroy. And so there I am. I pull up in front. I had all this garbage in the front passenger seat.
Classic.
Oh, yeah, because, as a seminarian, you don't have like a bunch of like, oh, I can't wait to drive people. So the passenger seat is like the empty 7-Eleven Big Gulp cup, the empty hot dog package. And so they're like, Brother Dan, you're going to drive Mother. So I'm like, so I go around, I'm throwing everything in the trunk.
And what's the hype on Mother at this point in the, 90?
96.
Is the hype pretty?
Oh yeah, everybody's fired up
all
for
about
Mother.
it?
Oh, everybody was coming to see Mother.
Okay.
Everybody. And so I pull up in front of Gift of Peace, and out rolls Mother and all the folks, all the residents, the sisters. There's a crowd of people around. I got my Chevy Corsica fired up.
You honk?
No, I didn't be like, let's go, Mother, let's go.
Hey.
I got something to do. So what happened was, Mother gets in and she sits shotgun, right? And in back goes Sister Nirmala, Sister Priscilla, and Sister Sylvia.
Sweet. 3 across. Okay.
Oh yeah,
seatbelt for everybody.
It didn't work. So there I am. I'm like rolling.
Does Mother
out the
wear?
Mother.
Does Mother wear a seatbelt?
Yeah, Mother wanted to. I mean, she didn't want to break a law, but she was protected.
Sure.
So there I am. I'm rolling all the way out to National Airport. Mother was getting on a plane, and Mother had this special plane that was taking her. So
by that you mean she had a jet?
Well, I don't know if she had a jet, but she had something, because by this time
She got
Mother
bread, she got money.
No, Mother went because there was always security issues when people saw Mother. People would charge Mother, and she was older and frail at this time. So we go out, and Mother gets on this plane, which was very awesome, and she gives everybody some medals, and we get back. I get back in my Corsica to go back to the Mount, and
seminary. Yeah.
Back to the seminary.
Yeah, sure.
And the sisters get in their van. The door on the plane closes. The propellers start. I get in my car. There goes the van of the sisters, and my car won't start.
Okay.
So, man, I'm in the middle of the tarmac. So I jump out, and I'm like waving my arms, and the sisters do a U-B. They come back, and one of the sisters jumps out. She's like, "What's wrong?" And you can't even hear because all the other planes are taking off. Oh yeah, but it's not moving yet because
this reminds me of Dumb and Dumber.
I don't know. I never saw
that. You're Lloyd Christmas, and you're like, "It's okay."
I never saw that.
I'm a limo driver. You never saw it?
I don't see movies. I got friends.
Okay, sweet.
So propellers, and they come back, and Sister's like, "What's up?" And I'm like, "The car won't start."
That's her problem?
She gives me a few medals that Mother gave her, and she puts one on the hood. She goes, "Go try." So I jump in my car, and I'm trying it, zilch. And she says, "One more time." Like, so this is how we're communicating. I'm like, so she says, "One more time." She puts another one on, and it starts right up.
What?
Seriously. So I get out. I said, "Sister, you're the best." I snagged the medals, and I drove back to the Mount. Yeah, and it worked for about another 6 months.
That's a pretty good deal.
Whatever. I was happy. Like the car had like 180,000 miles on it. You know, by that point it was dead. But I got some more mileage out of it. It was one of the classic moments of Mother Teresa, because I saw Mother make people cry. I saw Mother like intercede for babies, but I never seen Mother like intercede for a seminarian stuck on a tarmac. So God was good. God was good. There's so many experiences of Mother and the sisters that could go on countless hours. You know, birthday's coming up, so we got to do something special for Mother. That's what this
week is. I don't know if you know that.
Okay,
that's what we're doing now.
I didn't know.
I mean, that's the
Appreciate
camera.
that. Hi.
It's great. Now, wait. So classic. I used to work for you once upon a time. I was your youth minister, and I remember moving stuff in around the basement. I'm pretty a messy guy, so I go in the basement a lot trying to grab stuff. And I remember one time I walked in your basement, and I was shocked to see a passenger seats. Like you took out a passenger seat from your Pontiac, or I don't know what it was.
Corsica.
All right, yeah, my bad. And his Mother's face was on it, and she was like, "Woo!"
We put a picture of Mother
in someone's hands.
That was. So when the car died,
slow down, Father Dan.
I took the car seat. I had the car seat taken out. So I towed it everywhere. Man, it's a second-class relic. Mother touched it.
Do you still have it?
Yeah.
It's still down there?
I'm taking her with me everywhere I go, bro.
And did she ever...
That's my car. That's my car seat.
Did she ever, like... I mean, you drove her around, but did she ever talk to you? Like, what did she say?
Oh, yeah. Mother was very good. We passed her church, and she would bless the church. This was Mother's way of blessing. She saw any kind of church. It didn't matter what the denomination.
Bam.
See it, cross.
Bam.
Yeah. It's just so beautiful. And that's what we were doing. We would make our way up North Capitol over to National, and it was just really beautiful because, you know, Mother had this incredible capacity to penetrate people, and her presence was just incredibly lively. So, who can compare to Mother? It's only experience of profound holiness. John Paul II as well, where you just sense the beautiful presence of Christ.
Mm-hmm. Did you cry?
I don't think so. I was so deeply touched by the reality of meeting Mother. I didn't know what to do.
For sure.
You're like, I don't know. Hi, Mother.
How?
You know,
like,
and she was tiny, you know.
And years later, man, like what was it? 25 years later.
Yeah, it's been a guide.
Later?
You know, my work with the sisters, my work with the poor, a lot.
Because you're still connected with the missionaries of charity today.
Help them out. Mm-hmm. But I think what's equally profound is that what I recognize is that the profound impact of my love for the poor personally for Mother, through Mother and the poor now, and how I express it in my own diocesan way, is attributable to my experience with Mother and the missionaries of charity. Yeah, absolutely. No question.
So how do you answer? I mean, and you might be like, I don't answer it, but like, there are some haters. Like, there's some people that really dislike what Mother like stood for. Kind of what you alluded to in the beginning, which people have a misconception of what Mother was here to do, and if you get that wrong, you're gonna miss the boat completely. And one of them, I think, was Christopher Hitchens, one of like a huge atheist back in the day, like one of the four horsemen, like atheists back in like in Mother's time. I think he passed away in 2010 or right around there. Christopher Hitchens, and he made this whole. He wrote a book and did a video like about how he believed that Mother was like from hell, like oh, really? And that, you know, she would never like. She could have built hospitals with her money. She could have did so much more with her influence, and she chose to leave these people in their sickness, in their death. That he went personally to the missionaries, like to Calcutta and all these places, and they saw like the poor conditions of like the needles they were using and everything. And so he used it as a way to kind of just say, she's a fake, she's phony. And I mean, I don't know.
Mother,
like, what do you?
Well, Mother, I think the charism of the missionaries of charity is not to be always first class. Mother's charism was to live among the poorest of the poor with the greatest of simplicity, and then through that serve the poor. I think that the sisters dramatically show us that love can heal many things as well. And was it first class? I don't know. It depends what you consider first class. Is first class nice hospital beds, or is it being loved? And I think that I would say the sisters provide a first class love. There are always going to be people that disagree because they have their own expectations. And I think Mother would probably have said, I'll feed the poor and serve the poor in this way, and that others care for others in their own way. This is the way God has put it in my heart, in my life. And I think that mothers stayed true to that to the bitter end. And so do the sisters. They're faithful to that to the end.
Absolutely. I thought it was more of like a ministry of like accompaniment in that condition. Like it wasn't her calling to open up a bunch of hospitals and to make an empire or whatever. It was to walk with the sick and the dying and to live amongst them and to love them that way and to show them Christ that way.
Well, maybe the simplest way to think about it was when Mother would open a new home, she called it a tabernacle. And of course, every home of the MCs had a chapel. But Mother would always say, I've opened 657 tabernacles, meaning it could be the home, it could actually be where the Blessed Sacrament is stored. And that was Mother's image. It wasn't grandiose. It was simplicity, where the sisters all live the same no matter where they are, what country, but they do so for the glory of God, following the daily prayer schedule. And I think Mother's work is incomprehensible unless you have faith. You just won't get it. Mother's work is incomprehensible.
Wow. And another thing that I think sometimes is incomprehensible is like, I'm trying to figure it out myself, even like trying to word it. When, I don't know if someone asked her, like, what would you be known for? Like they were like, Mother, what would you be known for? What would be like the patroness of, you'd be the patron of. And do you remember, like, I think maybe you talked about it. She said she was the patron of, like...
Of the slums?
Either that or darkness. I don't even know. But it was something offhand. Like, you think, like, okay, that's really dark. Like, you think she'd be the patron of
Mother was
the
free.
poor, but
Mother
it was something different.
She was very free. She was not burdened by popularity. And she was certainly not burdened by the struggle of what people thought of her. She simply was a woman that did everything she could in the humblest manner to glorify God by the work. It was that simple. An elevation of heart and mind to the Lord.
Mm-hmm. And do you think in this day and age, like we're in 2019, 20, what would you say to, like, for the young, like for the church as it is right now, what is one thing that we need to adopt from Mother?
Well, I think
now, and specifically now in this culture.
Well, I think you could take the phrase of Francis, the spiritual accompaniment. Mother would walk with people and help them understand very profoundly, how to live your Christian life. Secondly, Mother would also speak the truth to them, which is very much like Jesus Christ. Mother would accompany to bring them to the truth. And that's a very important component of Mother. Mother never wanted people to live in the darkness of error and sin. And so through walking with people, through understanding their pain, she could actually help them experience the liberating love of Christ. And I think thirdly, Mother would recognize probably in our culture the incredible isolation and the lack of being loved. And more than anything else in our culture, that's what Mother taught, like how many people feel unloved. And I think Mother would be the sisters are still carrying out, you are loved, because that's part of being a Christian, showing God's love to others.
That's crazy. And I think that's something so foreign. I wish it was like second nature, like people would just do it, but I mean, I miss the boat. I miss opportunities to do that too.
We all do. But I think that we get so sort of hand-tied by how is this going to be perceived? Even
caring what other people think.
Well, yeah. I mean, your neighbor across the street is really sick, and they're doing. You want to make a meal for them, but you're all caught up in how's it going to be perceived? Are they going to eat it? I mean,
I think like that.
Just make the casserole. Who cares? Just make it. Just drop it off. If they don't like it, they'll throw it out the back door. I mean, just do it. Like how?
Because you've never done that.
Well, I just say to people all the time, just do it. Just do it. Quit asking for permission. I don't know, Nike. Talk about it.
You said it.
It's so liberating. Because otherwise people they're just going to sit and say, well, I was going to make a casserole, but I didn't think it was, and I don't know whether you like chicken or beef. Just make it. Who cares? If they don't like it, they'll return it. They'll give it to some other neighbor.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So you got a book there.
One Heart Full of Love. This is a great book. It's out of print. Although you can get it online.
Thanks.
Yeah,
it's no longer available to you.
But it's for you for a mere $5,000. No, This is one of Mother's great books. And this is what it says. Jesus is the light that I want to radiate. He is the way to the Father. Jesus is the love I want to share. Jesus is the joy I want to demonstrate. He is the peace that I want to sow. Jesus is everything to me. Without him, I can do nothing.
Dude, that's wild.
Yep.
And out of all those, why choose that quote?
Well, I just think that she identifies Jesus as more than just in the tabernacle, more than just the dying man. We are shown Jesus is all these things: the light, the way, the love, the joy. And I think that's where people have to understand Mother. Mother just didn't spend all of her time praying or just working with a sick person. She was all of these things. That's how she radiated the love of Christ.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It was funny. Like 3 years ago when we started the Holy Ruckus, I kind of wanted her to kind of be like a patron of like what we do. Nice. Just because the way that she walked with people and she sought out different folks, and I was like, oh man, like that's something like I want the Holy Ruckus to be known for, or this ministry, like just being a place, a hub where people can be thought of and walk with. So when the podcast shows that we do or the videos that we do, when we can highlight a saint that embodies that, like this was the one I wanted to do. And it was funny because did you know that Marvel Comics actually made a comic book of Mother?
Mm-mm.
Yeah, there's an actual comic book of St. John Paul II and then Saint Mother Teresa.
Wow.
And I think it's also out of print.
Wow.
So you can't have one. But you can. So if you're listening and you're watching, well, this one's a heart full of love. One heart full of love by who?
Mother Teresa.
Oh.
It's all over quotes.
All over quotes.
Yeah.
Cheated, man. I thought it was a book.
No.
Why don't you audiobook it or something?
No, we're not.
Okay. But anyway, the comic book of Mother Teresa or whatever, we're actually going to give away to a good home. And so, what?
Give it to me.
Okay. Well, anyway, Father, thanks so much for kicking it. We've been... I've always known about the impact, or somewhat of, or I've seen when you walk in and you see things of Mother Teresa or the car seat or things like that. I'm like, whoa, she must have meant something like pretty
Mother
heavy.
Was huge. Mother was huge in my priesthood. I give thanks to God for the times I met her.
Yeah, so like that's pretty wild. And then last one. How is she able to? How is she able to like put a straight face like to all the people that she met in high places, celebs or whatever, and able to kind of, you hear the story of like where she talks to like Hillary Clinton's giving a speech and then she like says something about abortion or something.
Well, Mother was like just very
Princess
free.
Diana and like all these people.
Mother was very free, I was there for the inaugural opening of the Western Avenue House.
Okay.
When it was there, it was for children, and there were some other dignitaries there, and Mother was just very free. Mother had her words to speak, would speak, and she just knew that this is what God wanted. So I don't think Mother compared herself to those people. Mother was a spiritual giant, and even though she was a woman of small stature, because she could penetrate the truth, man. And you heard Mother, and she spoke with authority. Even though she spoke very quietly, you sensed the presence of God.
Awesome, man. And that's our first episode of Sinner, Saint. Don't worry, you don't have to come back for a second one.
Great.
Thanks so much for watching and for listening. Father, anything for the people about Mother? Anything else?
No, just try to serve the poor. All the poor is where we will encounter Christ, and that's where we'll encounter Mother. God bless you.
So we got to go to Calcutta?
No, local.
So I can do that?
Yeah. Bring me a sandwich.
There you go. Thanks, guys. See ya.